All right, everybody, I'm now back. Let me just see, get my music going again. Okay. Now, it has to be said that Cray is going crazy. Even though this is some kind of a buyout with HPE, but it is just moving pretty high here. Off, looked like that would have been around, now it may be tied to the share price, HPE share price. I didn't read all the details, but like it could be because, or maybe there's competitive offers. Anyway, definitely going crazy for something that is in theory just supposed to be, sitting pretty at the buyout price. Pretty good one from Holly on the only real good one today, to be honest, in terms of a percentage increase, the type I'm looking for, OCX, 536, 550. It has, you look left, it's got some room to that $7 level. Was it for 35? Okay, yeah, so didn't actually see a buyout price when I briefly looked at the news this morning. I just saw about HPE, and that was about it. It looked like a bit of a convoluted. In fact, oh yeah, well, so some attorney wants to investigate the proposal acquisition of Cray. Blah blah blah. Attorneys get involved. All right, OTLK. Guys, OTLK is still kind of hanging tough. These bottoming tails. This could. Again, I think it would probably have to take out this area here, 254. I'll stick an alert around 254. See if it can take that out at some point. Oh, that's always good. So that's why CCIH was halted. Company's chairman and the former CEO are under investigation for allegations of bribery. So that's why CCIH was halted. Well, so far, to eat my words a little bit, this looked like it was going to be a successful IPO. I mean, it's still successful in relation to the IPO price, but definitely fading once it opened. As opposed to FSLY, which, yeah, it's pulling back a little, but I wouldn't call, it's a little, maybe a little bit of a pullback, but certainly nothing like LK straight down after the open. So second alert up to high of FSLY. And not really seeing, yeah, this is, oh, it is shortable now. Oh, I was, okay, sorry, it was a delayed reaction. IPHI is shortable. Boy, what a break right there. Great break right there. Anybody caught that one? Well, guys, only one trade for me today, which is okay. Well, depends on what the trade is, but All right. Well, this one from the Pitbull scan just came up here. 3301 on the short, 3301. So it hasn't quite broken out of the below the 33. Probably some resistance or some support around 50 cents a week though. Just checking some of these earnings plays. Boot 2854, 2854. So below the VWAP now. Another earnings play. I'm not going to do it, but I almost feel I wish I could do a reboot right now on my computer. There's just some weirdness happening. AFI not doing anything. It's HRO. I know it's a Holly alert. It's really doing nothing. Bit of a after that initial nice euphoria for 1, 2, 3, 4 for an hour. We had a nice steady uptrend on the SPY, and now we're just getting the reverse. A couple of little pauses here, but spread is right now anyway. It's only 6 cents right now. I don't know what it has been, but it's only 6 cents now. Oh, I see. Yeah. So there's the pop. Well, you see a lot of patterns like this. You know, if you can get early enough, maybe on the high of that second candle, see a couple of bottoming tails on the 15, especially fairly long ones, almost equal. And then if you can get that next candle afterwards, taking out the high of the previous, so that's at 1626. If you can get it there. I don't mean now, of course, but. How is X doing? Ugly. Wow. But I guess all the best you can say about it is put a huge, it's kind of a base in this area. If it ever wants to pop, this looks like it's a parking lot now, though, for your money if you're going to get into that one. No, earnings are already passed. So what's going to prop this up? Graydon, didn't you ask a question via email to our info@trade-ideas.com? Sort of recall seeing your name. I don't know if you got an answer. I may be wrong. Really? Oh, okay. You would know. It would have been yesterday or the day before. All right, then it's not you. Oh, okay. Did you get an answer? You too, Chris. Yeah, it's starting to really slow down here. I'm hardly getting any alerts now. Boy, this was really steady, you know. Very, very steady earnings play. Got out of nowhere. Still a lifetime high for CAE. Yeah, I agree, Martin. If it pops over 250, I would not be adverse to taking it again. Yeah, maybe this will have a little bit of a move here. I mean, it's had a nice move already, obviously, but the high of last week is just underneath it. I think it's around 26, 28, the high of last week. After that, it might have a little bit of room to get to that 27 level. Is that news happening right now, Martin? I mean, I don't see U.S. Steel really making. I mean, there's a bit of a move, but oh, with Canada and Mexico. Okay. Where did my size end up after all the? Yeah. I mean, it got over $1 briefly, and then it's just pulled back. All right. All right. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. Okay, just got the grunt GLBS. Okay, that's Globus. Just wondering if there's anything that is any sort of interest to me. We waited forever, I think. Didn't have an alert set for this one, actually. 16, 18. Well, let's see if it takes that out at some point. If it doesn't take it out today, it may be one to watch next week. It had their earnings yesterday. Big reaction to earnings. Might be just resting. So who knows? Maybe next week takes that out. It's not a beautiful weekly. A little bit of resistance there, but if we can get through that, so we'll see if it has continuation. Hmm. Yeah, look at those two bottom tails. Really? Yeah, only 91,000 shares, so a little dicey. Okay, one moment, please. Okay, guys, OTLK getting frisky again. Just watching it here, see how well it gets over that 250. Maybe get like a 255 bid. I mean, the spread's great. It's only a penny, so the spread has not widened. You're right. Really keep an eye on that. It could pop anytime here, the OTLK. And then again, it could just not want to crack through 250. So just keep an eye on it. I'd like to see a bigger move through 250. You might be giving up a little bit, but remember, it hit 270, which is not that far away. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a volume surge there, a little bit of one. There it is on the 5, but it isn't not sustained yet. 159 million shares, so it is basically turned the float over about 6.5 times. 9 million shares in the float. Used to have that metric actually. You can pop that in. Those of you who know how to write custom formulas. All right, just a second. I'm just going to try something here. $252, $251, $252. This is really interesting, right at that 250 level. You can see that is kind of the psychological, 50 cents, kind of the psychological area for the stocks under $5. You know what? CWH may be setting up for a short now. Little pop up here, little pull up, not a pop up, little pull up right there. It takes out the low. I'm going to stick an alert around 1191. Because if you look at the weekly chart, it looks like there's some support around 11, so that's far enough away. Too bad. Well, at least for me, I know somebody's going to say, well, CFDs have them, but no shorts for me for LK. I'm sure they'll be available on Monday, but well, I've said a couple of times that I'd like to see probably 255 up here in this area right there on the bid. See if we can clear this 250. That's my opinion. Red bar ignored. Red bar ignored. This is what Real is talking about. There's a red bar ignored on the 5-minute chart. Actually, nice. Yeah, there's a cross. So not a huge trend, of course, but you've got a green candle. Then you've got the next candle is red, engulfed by the previous green candle, and then the next candle is green, and see if there's a continuation. In other words, I mean, the trend is not huge. I'd like to see maybe a couple more, but anyway, sort of an interruption of the trend. So in other words, RBI, red bar ignored, ignore the fact that, and the trend continues. I like to see a little bit more of a trend, that's all. But the cross is good, 27.32. So you've got maybe the double whammy, the cross and the red bar ignored. You want to see a good one? Just give me a second. All right, just give me a second. The double whammy, you've got the cross here for Pinterest right there, PINS, and you've got the red bar ignored. So, all right, I have to, just give me a second here. I want to show you something. Give me 1 second here. I know I'll be able to find it. All right, there you go. Do you want to see an example, a great example of a red bar ignored with what I call, obviously, you've got a great trend. You've got 4 15-minute candles up. Then you've got that red bar totally engulfed by the previous one. The next candle is, now this is a great one, obviously, but the next candle has to be green, and just obviously if it's green, it has to be above that high right there. And that's about as good of an example as you're going to see. The trend, the pause, the ignore it, trend continues. All right? Inside candle of the previous, yeah, an inside candle, engulfed, whatever you want to call it, inside candle of the previous candle, yes. And it could be on any time frame. This happens to be a 15-minute time frame. And of course, the flip would be a green bar ignore. So if you had you just flip this around, if this stock were moving down, and then you had a green bar engulfed, and then the stock continues down, that'd just be a green bar ignored. Yes. I mean, ideally, I mean, in theory, yes, yeah, GT, but sometimes we'll stretch it a little bit. Let me see if I bring that back. Did I close it down? Okay, just a second. Yeah, so sometimes you see how that wick, the bottoming tail right there, sometimes even if that had been just a little bit under, you know, not great, could have considered it, okay? You know, fudging it just a little bit. I mean, ideally, totally. But sometimes, especially if the body is rather narrow, but you got a long. In fact, that's okay, because think about what that would really mean if even if that tail was below here. That means that the sellers tried, but the buyers just took over, and especially if the body of that candle is going to be turns out to be narrow, and then so the buyers still took over. So you'll see us say, well, I'll say anyway, not quite an RBI or a GBI, but really close. But you've got a nice uptrend. Remember what the whole idea is. You had a great uptrend, and it's just a pause. Oh, I'm so glad I waited on the OTLK. Did not jump in. I'm going to stick to my guns. Wait for 255 on the bid if it happens. I think a 1 bar pullback. I mean, that's all. It's just a 1 bar pullback, though. Geez, I remember we saw this at 750 right here, 750, the lithium or live vent. Well, guys, I have not had very many alerts now in the last little while. So we'll look at SBS. Now, this is a Brazilian stock or Argentinian. Brazilian stock. SBS had earnings 5 days ago. Look at the row underneath. Big float. Yeah, it is at the VWAP. To me, it's not a confidence builder right now, even if it bounces off the VWAP. It's just not that confidence inspiring right now. You know, you've got these pullback and then another one. If it goes below here, I mean, and that's it'd be a little bit different maybe if it was sort of gently approaching the VWAP, but this is pretty, it's a pretty big candle for it. What lines are you talking about? These dotted lines, the software is these dotted lines there. That's the software drawing the lines. But what lines where? Like what stock? Give me a stock. Okay, so let's see. Probably my own. Yeah, these are no. This is because I'm doing a video, of course, in about 3 or 4 minutes. So I just put these lines in for the video. That's where I got in. I took some out here, took some out here, and then out here. That's just. So those are just lines that I've on the mark, just horizontal lines that I've drawn. Well, but those lines mean nothing. I mean, they're just my entries or exits. I mean, so they really don't mean anything. It's got nothing to do with support or resistance or the only line it'll draw, I think, is the 20. You'll see sometimes on the 20-day low, you know, a swing like right there, a swing exit right there. Yeah, so this is what Real is talking about. 50.99 is the 100-day moving average. So it's testing it. You know what, guys? CWH is now breaking down a little. Now it's not quite at the low of the pre-market, but that, you know, forget that bottom tail. But it's now making a new low, CWH. But I'm going to make my video very soon, so I'm not going to get anything right now. Okay, and again, one more time before I go, again, if somebody's coming into the room right now, we do have the promo on Spring Driver, right there, Spring Driver, instant 25% savings off the first month or the entire year. There is a subscription link. That promo will be good until 11:59 Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Sunday night. All right, everybody, you'll see you around 1:50. All right, everybody, I'm now back. So I see that OTLK is still drifting down here. There's a possibility. What's that? It's sort of still at the VWAP, just a little bit underneath. Possibility, I suppose, the traders will pile into it. I'm stubbornly going to wait for something like this to happen. So, guys, to keep my interest, ask me questions, all right? You can ask me questions about stocks you're looking at or the trading platform itself, because, you know, we're winding down now. I'm not getting very many alerts now. The only one, Holly, that I see today that was pretty good, though almost got stopped out actually, was RARX, RARX, but a choppy. There was the alert at 23.85. There was a stop, almost got stopped out. Took herself out of the trade on this anyway, which is too bad it actually didn't get stopped out. The reason being is that if the stop had occurred, then at 23.68 right here, we would have had a secondary entry, which would have been pretty good. But for the secondary entry to, well, okay, let's take a look at this one just for fun to see what's happened here. Again, I don't trade these expensive ones, but so you can see what happened. This was a short. So there was the short at 95.63, and there was the stop. So this is the candle the short happened on, and then it got stopped out right there. And then it has come halfway between 95.63 and 95.96, which is, no, again, I think the stop is too tight for a $95 stop. Anyway, 95.79 is the trigger, and at 11.41. Not a great example because that stop is too tight. No. No, what I was saying is that my favorite day is when the market gaps down and then does something like, I had no idea. I did not say I had any idea that it was going to do that. Just saying my favorite day is when the market gaps down and then we see a recovery. Now, this is not a recovery anymore, obviously, but had this continued, those are the days that really can give us some really nice bounce plays, especially stocks that were beaten up on the downtrend and then recover all day long. But I was not speculating at all. Is it usable in test mode? Well, you can have I mean, we do have a demo mode, and certainly in demo mode, you can see all of the filters and alerts that we have. So, I mean, the demo mode is in the room drive. In the links download, you'll see demo mode is one of the links. So you can certainly, I mean, everything is delayed by 15 minutes, but over the weekend, certainly, you could create an alert window and you can see all of the alerts and filters that we have. You know, I mean, there's a ton of them. If that's what you mean. Beyond stupid. I love it. Let's see if I got the email yet. I know they stagger them. They tend to stagger them. I haven't really been able to check my emails this morning. In my email, my personal emails, not the Trade Ideas emails. Oh, it was a. Hi, you're welcome. Yeah, so here's the demo. There is a demo link for you. Okay, Lionsgate. What is LGF doing? Just LGF. Okay, I'm confused a little bit. So LGF.A and LGF.B, they were both halted. Well, when you say to run TI and see the scanners working, I don't exactly know then what you mean, because obviously the markets are closed. You can construct all the things you see here. You can construct yourself, but of course the market's not open. So I'm not sure what you mean then to see the scanners working. Oh, I see. No, we don't have a mock data stream. No. Then you can run a. No, we don't have a mock data stream. I see what you mean now. No. Well, you see the scanners working on my screen. I mean, that's how they work. You know, I mean, all this is obviously live data. Anything. I know it confuses some people when they wonder, well, why am I, like, is this live? It's just the way I've got this sorted or viewed, that's all. So there hasn't been anything in the gap down or gap up since 141 and 1219 respectively. Well, you can always zoom in. If you can find that magnifying glass, you can zoom in. Whoops. Magnifying glass, I think, is upper right or so. You can zoom in. You can zoom in on one, one of them. If you want to see how they work and something that's a little more dynamic. Ooh, I almost did that. That's the problem with it being in a browser. So luckily I didn't. If you want to see something a little more dynamic, then the basic new highs and lows. This is not relying on gaps or anything like that. So you will see. You can just see it right there. CENT at 158 real-time alert. Can you demonstrate setting an alert using TI? Is it audible? So all of these alerts in alert windows, any window with an A in it, you can set an audible alert, if that's what you mean. I have no idea if I think OLTK will rise again. All I'm going to wait for, though, is if it does get up to about 250. Okay, you mean it? Okay, thank you. You mean a price alert? You mean setting a price alert on the chart? Like that? Oh, okay. Yes. Price alert window works exactly the same way. Here's the price alert window. Works exactly the same way as setting an alert on the other windows. Just right-click actions, check the play sound, set up the sound, and go run, use custom sound. Exactly the same. And then, you have the 3 folders here with various price alerts in, or audio, various sounds. So if you can set a price alert in an alert window, it's exactly the same in your price alert window. Right click actions and then just go through it again. You do know how to set an alert in an alert window, right? Mostly. Okay. Well, again, just right click, actions, check play sound, set up the sound. You want text to speech, but understand that there's only one text to speech. So, I mean, if you put text to speech on every one of them, you won't know which one to look at. So that's the idea. You can put text, I put text to speech on one of them, and then I use a custom sound on my other ones. These are just 3 folders that we've got, and you can just, you want to pick a sound. What does breakout sound like? You open it, you can play it, you like it, you say okay. And then okay again, and so then it's attached. So you have a sound alert. You should have different sound alerts attached to your different alert windows. So the minute you hear a sound, eventually you'll know which window to look at. Absolutely. So OTLK, I've already done that, but see, actually you can move them around, but let's just say I'll put one up there. So let's say I want it right there at 250. All I have to do is just move down. See how my cursor is moving down, the dotted line. It hits 250, and I right click, create price alert, and that's it. Now you don't have to, you want to put in a little note in, you can. I rarely put any notes in. And it's obviously long because the price is underneath. Okay, and then, so it's really simple. Just say save, and that's it. And then it appears in your price alert window at the bottom. See it? See it right there? The alert price 250, the current price is 228. If it hit 250, if you sort on the triggered column, it'll pop to the top. You'll hear it because you've got an audible alert, and it'll also flash at you. All right? So you miss it. Now, unfortunately, ERDW, how do I find exit points on trades? You see, unfortunately, I'm a bit of a gut feel trader. All right, so it's not that I'm looking for specific things. I'm not looking for, okay, if it crosses here, then I do this. If it, I mean, there are obvious things. If I see it's getting close to a 200-day moving average, then I'll probably start to wonder, that might stall it, so I'll get out before that. The VWAP, possibly. But other than that, the OTLK, for me, there was no, this is more just gut, which is not helpful, I know. Just looking at kind of gauging what I'm seeing, but it's not based on, okay, well, it just crossed, ADMA, or it did this, it did that. It's not, for me, it's just not based on stuff like that. So I'm, Real is way better at doing stuff like that because he has real rules. Not that I don't have rules, but it's more of a feel. What is the market doing? Now, sometimes in something like this, it doesn't matter what the market's doing. Market, at the beginning of the day was moving down, and it was down. It doesn't matter. I mean, these stocks are trading on their own. No, no, real. You could teach, you see, I can't, because teaching requires, okay, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. You know, there are certain rules that you can kind of follow. I mean, the only rule I mean, it's the most important rule is, you know, and I've said it a million times, and so we're real, obey your stops, obey your stops, obey your stops. So if you have a stop in place, don't second guess it. You put the stop in. Now, it's got to be based on something too. A lot of people say, well, I risk 10 cents every trade. Well, that's not a stop. I mean, that's just, I don't even know what that is, but I know what people say that. I risk 10 cents every trade. Well, that's not really a stop. That's just kind of, because they're not based on anything. So yeah, have a stop first. Yeah, a lot of people say, what's a stop? So I always use the example. I mean, I just use this example because it's just, the math is easy. So let's just say I get into a $10 stock. It's right at $10. And I look underneath, and at 9.90, there's, you know, a lot of this. You know, it looks like there's support. Okay, looks like there's a lot of support at 9.90, which is 10 cents away, obviously. So if I'm willing to risk $100 on that trade, I can buy 1,000 shares. Because that's the other thing. People always ask me, how many shares do you buy normally? There's no normal, because it's all depends on where the stop is and how much I'm wanting to risk. Now, I don't alter my risk per trade by very much. So it's not like on one trade I'm going to risk $100 and then the next one I'm going to risk 300. All right, it doesn't, for me, it just doesn't work that way. Now, will I risk maybe a little bit more if I think this, if it's more? I mean, look, not all setups are created equal. So if I think, oh man, this is my primo setup, so maybe I risk a little bit more, but I'm not going like 3 times, 4 times. Because what can happen is if you start varying your risk, because I guarantee, I mean, we've all done it. I mean, I've done it. I'm sure Bill has done it. You risk, you go in with great intentions. I'm going to risk $100 on this trade, and you even have a realistic stop in place, that 10-cent stop I was talking about, and you lose. Okay, and you obey it, and you get out at 9.90. You lost $100. Well, you better make that back. So I better risk 200 the next trade so I can get what I lost, and then when I win, I'll be up 100. You see where I'm going with this. So you put in a realistic stop again, like a good stop, and you obey it. Now you're down 300, and on and on. With commissions so cheap now, you can be wrong a few times, you know, on trades. So, for instance, the example that I'm using, getting in at 10 and getting stopped out at 9.90, it could go back up to 10. And I could say, you know what? Okay, maybe it was a little early. I can try it again. Same stop. If I lose again, I've got manageable little risks. You know, I'm just not going to. I'm not going to vary. That's the one thing I rarely do, is vary my risk, and I almost never anymore disobey my stop. Now, the other thing too, of course, is if you're getting into that $10 trade and you look above and there's a whole bunch of resistance at 10.10, only a dime away. I mean, you know, there's a trade you're not going to want to take either, because your risk reward is only 1-to-1. A lot of people will say, you know, it's got to be at least 2-to-1. I know some people say 3-to-1, but you know, at least 2-to-1. So in other words, if I'm looking at that $10 stock and there is decent support a dime away, I better look at that chart and I better think, you know what? I should, if it works, I should be able to get up to 20 without any resistance. In other words, you know, 2-to-1. Well, it's not Wayne. I mean, it's an emotional game, especially people who paper trade at the beginning and seem to do okay paper trading, but it's a different animal once you have your money on the line and you're watching your P&L whip up and down. One of the things I do, I mean, look, I got into this one, what, at 191. I took some out at 208. I mean, would I have rather have held the entire shot and got out here at 259? Of course. I look at these ones, low float, anything can happen. So I don't mind taking a little bit out, ensure some profit. If it drops down here, I get out, and so, okay, I move on. So, you know, for me, psychologically, I take a little bit out, and then I can start riding the rest. Now, some people kind of make light of paper trading, says, yeah, you shouldn't paper trade. Well, here I know what they're saying, because, you know, paper trading and live trading, they're two different things. I will say this though, if you can't make money paper trading, I guarantee you won't make it in the real world. It's unfortunately, you know, I'm not trying to pick on you or anybody else who might listen to that, but, you know, if you can't make it paper trading when there's really no emotion, then it's going to be awfully hard for you to do it when you've got your money in the line. Well, then you might want to just start taking some off. You know, not being. I don't want to use the word greedy, but, you know, especially on these smaller ones, you get a quick pop. And look, the percentage from one night for me, what was that? So I mean, I'm talking almost a 10% move in less than probably 2 minutes. It's hard for me not to take some profit on that. I mean, I'm guilty probably of, you know, not panic selling. I shouldn't call it like that. I'm conservative. It bothers me more to watch something go up like this in a quick period of time, and I'm looking, wow, that's up 10% from where I got it, and then have it drop on me immediately and then crash through and I'm not able to get out. That bothers me more than taking a little bit off here, and yeah, not getting out right at the, you know, I didn't get right at the top, maybe not completely maximizing my gains, but it's almost, you almost have to do a psychological study on yourself. Okay, how do you feel about, you know, missing out like right at the top here? You know, oh man, I didn't hold everything. Look at how much I could have made. Versus, okay, took a little bit here, took more here, and I'm out the last here. You know, and so you look at the very end, it should, you know, depending how many shares you take, it should still be a really good trade. Yeah, I just don't do, I know what you're saying, PVM, and I listen, it's just the way I trade, all right? I know people who, you're talking about auto stops, and, you know, so you get stopped if it moves back, you let the computer basically do it. I really, one of the reasons I don't do that is because if I were in, like, real is, could be in 10, 15 trades at a time. I would have to automate more what I do. But I'm usually only in, now today is obviously a little bit light, but I'm usually only in 2 positions at a time at any one time. So I find for myself, it's easy enough for me to watch, and watching the SPY, watching the set, watching what it's doing, watching the volume, and kind of, you know, doing it the old school manually. That's just me though. So real's got 6 at a time open. I mean, for me, you know, I couldn't do it unless I, you know, put in some stops. I couldn't do it. Yeah, Lumpy, that's a good analogy, actually. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, being in a simulator, you know, like, yeah, you can, but I mean, time you took it up, and you know you probably you had an instructor with you, but the first time you solo, wow. But everybody is different. Everybody is different. One of the reasons I can do this in terms of only having two trades open at a time, and it's not a rule I have. I mean, you know, if I have two trades open and I see something spectacular, I will take it. Don't get me wrong. But I don't have the need to. By the way, watching OTLK, you know, all these bottoming tails, you know, it's an interesting sign right here. Sellers have been trying, but the buyers are keep propping it up. But I don't have to be in a trade all day long. You know, I don't have that addiction. One of the things that you can also do too is that if you have a set goal in mind, like I don't actually have a set goal, to be honest with you, in terms of how much I can make in the day. But yeah, I mean, if I'm having a bad day, there will be a point where I say, okay, that's enough. My losses, that's it. I'm not going to trade anymore. I'm not going to try to revenge trade. I liken it to just pushing yourself away from the table. That's enough. Okay. Well, yeah. So keep asking questions, guys. If this is good for me. Well, I think if I lived in the States, I'd be a full-time employee, but I don't. So I'm on a contract basis. So, but in essence, I mean, this is my job. How much is it? Yeah. Let's put it this way. I'm very happy working with Trade Ideas. Extremely happy. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. Look at Psy now, guys. Pull back 3 bar. Yeah, if it's seen that through 3 bar or maybe a 4 bar and then take it just over 16.15. Wow, look at a run. I don't know if you're kidding, William, or not. No, I trade my own account. Whatever I do is mine. I keep. What's the VIG? The vigorish. What is crazy word? One day I'll regale you guys with the story of how we used to send somebody down. We live in Canada, of course, and send somebody down to Las Vegas to trade for us every week. Trade for us, gamble for us every week. Crazy, crazy, crazy days. And for wondering, well, why couldn't we find a bookie in Canada? The only ones we wouldn't do college football, and we needed crazy. How long have I been running this in this fashion with sharing my screen on the mic since, well, October of 2015. Yeah, that's when we got back to Boston. Yeah, 2015. Before that, we had just a text-based room. I wasn't on the mic. It was just, it was live in terms of the postings, but it wasn't, but in this format, I guess, man, 3.5 years. No, only Canadian and US stocks. We get that question a lot, and we just don't have enough. We have to pay, of course, for the data. I mean, that's trade ideas, aside from my salary, haha, is one of trade ideas' biggest expenses, of course, is paying for the data. So we have to have enough. I mean, Hans, I don't know where you are. If I'll be stereotypical. If you're in Denmark, Hans Christian Andersen. If we had a million Danes saying we want the Danish market, we'd do it. Okay. Okay. But you see what I'm saying? We get people from Australia wanting a lot of people from India. A lot of people from India wanting that market. I'm in Vancouver. And there's Real just slugging it out. There's no quitting that man. Okay, thoughts on some of the Fridays. It's been a long, week and a half too. I mean, the test drive ended on Wednesday, so I'm a lot busier during the test drive. So yeah, by Friday, I'm pretty much fried. Provide thoughts on how short interest, also what tools. All right, well, we've got the short float and the float. I mean, those two combinations. Short interest, it doesn't affect me that much. I mean, obviously, as I always call it, it's a triple whammy. So I mean, we got this is the float data that we have. Okay, the short float and the, excuse me, never mind. These are just some custom formulas, but excuse me. So we have the short float. That's the percent, and then the float itself. So I don't find that the short float percent affects me that much at all, to be honest. I mean, the float itself, yes. Especially, you're in these smaller stocks with low floats, and if they get some news or for whatever reason, traders are going crazy on them, that's when you get the big runs. So but having said that, if you are in something with a low float and it's got some news and you happen to see that it's got a high short float interest, well, that's kind of the triple whammy, isn't it? Because now you've got a lot of people who might be short and watching something surging, thinking, uh-oh, I better start covering. Webinar reminders. Which webinars are you talking about? And I did not say about. I did not say which webinars are you talking about. I did not say that. Are you talking about right now? You mean the trading room? This is not really a webinar, but I mean, are you talking about, oh, that one? I don't know. You'd have to ask. I've got nothing to do with those. I don't know if you can get a text like an SMS, or I know they come via email. Obviously, you sign up for it, and I think it comes via email. You can ask them. Just send info@trade-ideas.com. I doubt it. I'm going to say I doubt it. Okay, but you can always ask. Oh yeah, that's the only downside. Having to get up between 4 and 4:30 every day. That's the downside. Yeah, so obviously 3 days ago it had earnings, and obviously no bueno. Or in this area here. So I do see what you're looking at. It would need a catalyst, of course. Let's face the void up here at 581-ish, so that's a couple of dollars away. So I do see what you're looking at. What's the high here? 395. So yeah, stick an alert around 4 and see if it happens. See if it does happen. Not today, of course, but maybe next week. Yeah, you might not get a reply right away. Brad's a very busy guy. I just don't think we do. I don't think we send anything out SMS via. Let me just see. I'm going to ask. I'll ask the support guys. They'll know. I'm going to almost say I put the question out there, see if anybody answers. I just have a feeling the answer is going to be no. Okay, one moment, please. Okay, so volume scan. So we do have volume 1 minute and volume 5 minute. that you can set, or maybe you don't know that. So you could put volume 1 minute. Well, okay, it does require a custom formula. Okay, not so much this, but you can have a custom formula that says, if you know how to write one, I can just give it to you. If you don't know how to do it, I can show you how. But for instance, there is a custom formula, so you could say volume in 1 minute has to be at least a certain number of shares. And of course, you could do it for 5 minutes too. V underscore up underscore 5. And other than that, then I don't know what else I can say. But that'll at least, give you some kind of at least a minimum volume increase or spurt. And depending on the price of the equity, it could be significant. Yeah, the answer is no as far as SMS. Sorry. It's just via email, of course you can have it on your phone or whatever. So the answer is no. So I'm going to be wrapping this up pretty soon, okay? So keep the questions coming, but I'll be wrapping this up pretty soon. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to absolutely be at the high of the day, but if it looks like it's, especially imagine this, okay? This is not at the high or the low, right? But what if I got that volume right now? So there's the low, so I wouldn't necessarily have to wait for the low. If all of a sudden that volume started coming in, it was just below, just a little bit above that low, I could be persuaded to take it. So it doesn't have to be absolutely at the high of the day for me to take what I call a momentum trade, but it's going to be pretty close. Well, no, okay. Well, obviously there's a good example, OTLK. To me, there just looks like a lot of resistance right around that 250 area, right? So yeah, it doesn't have to get up to 272. So if it were somehow able to get volume also, I would probably take this, if the bid got, 253, 254, I could see taking it, but the volume would have to be there. So yeah, it doesn't have to be right at the high. That's a fairly special case though also, because that people are wanting to get back into this. Look at the volume. The volume is there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You too, New. Have a good weekend. Well, let's say the stock was up here. Let's say it was right up here, doing all this, but it was right up here. Then I would be waiting for a break of the high. Yeah, and also remember now, as I've said a few times, the 50 cent mark for stocks under $5, it almost as psychological as the whole number for more expensive stocks, in breaking. Yeah, just a minute, please. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. Interesting to see how this LA trades on Monday. Well, I rarely swing, at the best of times. So I don't really have a problem holding things. If I were going to swing something, I don't have a big problem because it's the weekend. Most of the stuff that if I'm going to be swinging, usually will not be affected by anything that's going to happen in, say, the global market. Usually. I mean, I can't 100% predict that's not going to happen, but you know me, I don't swing trade very often at the best of times, whether it's over, the next day or over the weekend. But I don't have, oh my gosh, I can't hold this because it's the weekend. But many people do. Man, the craziness of this one when it was 500 and something dollars, 552. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're in a stock like a tariff, we'll call it a tariff stock for sure. Just a second, guys. I gotta send an email to somebody. Speaking of swing trading, maybe I'll just go over. I've gone over this many times, but for those of you who don't, if I am going to swing trade, these are my 4 rules for swing trading, and if you want to take a look at it, all you have to do is just click on the room drive and download that link or download that. I'm sorry, right here, my 4 rules for swing trading. Just quickly go over them. Pretty simple. You know, every one of these could turn into a swing trade. You know, they're all set up for intraday trading in theory, because, you know, these are moving stocks today and all that. But I know you guys probably get tired of my telling you this, but of course I have this weekly daily chart all set up. So when I click on something, I'm always looking to see what it looks like on the weekly and the daily chart. So that's number one. So I will check, you know, for the large gap. So obviously in this particular case, huge gap, huge gap. You know, it's up at $15. The stock's at $3. Then I quickly look to see where the 200-day moving average is. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I'm not going to swing unless it's, you know, above the 200-day, and that's fine. You want to do that. But if it's far enough away, I mean, I don't care. I mean, this 200-day way up here is not going to affect the stock at 3. Then I'll check to see when the stock has earnings. You know, I will look at where our provider gives to us, but I'll also check another source. You know, I'll go to FinViz or Yahoo, or even maybe to the company's website, just to make sure. Because I don't want to be sidetracked. I will not hold through earnings. It's that simple. Never, never, never do I hold anything through earnings. And then the last one, though, is I do want the stock to close near the high of the day. The reason is that, let's just say I took this one. Maybe this fell into all, and then it started to fade. And it goes all the way down to here, 527. Well, that, and the high was at 563. Well, that means on Monday, if the stock remained here, that means it might struggle to get through today's high. So that's why I want the stock to close near the high. It doesn't have to close right on the penny, but as long as it closes near the high of the day, then I don't have, remember, now I'm holding for the next day, I don't have to worry about today's high being super resistance, if that makes sense. So if all 4, if I go check, 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 then becomes a swing candidate. Now, a lot of times I will not swing a little bio that does something astonishing, because I'm always worried that what's going to happen is that they're going to spring a financing. You know, these little bios are desperate for money. So you always have to worry about that. Learn stuff a little bit more advanced than the basic terminology. I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody, I'm not 100% sure where I would send you. I mean, looking at, you know, thousands of charts over and over and over again, and you know, trying to see patterns, and I mean, that's invaluable. Nothing other than time can help you there. Well, that'll give you, Investopedia will certainly give you the terms. Excellent, Al. I mean, definitely Investopedia, if you go there, I mean, so I was maybe reading that wrong. You can go there. I mean, there's a lot of definitions there in terms of chart patterns. I'm sure there must be resources out there that can identify what chart patterns are. And but looking at literally thousands of charts. Now you might say, well, how am I going to look at 1,000 charts? I've probably looked at 1,000 today. You know, I mean, you know, without an exaggeration, maybe not 1,000, but certainly 500. So it doesn't take long to build up to, 50,000 charts. It really doesn't. I mean, maybe a year or so, but because the more charts you see, the more you start to, yeah, I remember that one. And when I saw that pattern the last time, it kind of did this. Doesn't mean that the pattern is going to exactly be duplicated, of course, or the same thing will happen. But all you're trying to really do in trading is to put the odds in your favor. You see something that happened before, and you see a pattern and similar circumstances, maybe with the market doing the same thing and the sector is the same. Think, okay, let's try this. It may not work, but at least the plan is there that you recognize a pattern, and if you can get it to work 60%, 65% of the time, I mean, you're solid. All right, guys, so I will be shutting the room down at 3 o'clock. And one last second, I'm just going to put the promo code in. That's a very technical term. What is a double whammy? All right, so again, there's that promo code. It will expire at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night, all right? Eastern time. I will. I'm going to have a great weekend. Yikes. Maybe that term isn't used anymore. It's not an investment term. You too, Thomas. See, I'm actually using it incorrectly. Yeah, I'm using it incorrectly because I use it actually to even if good, the double whammy is in theory something bad. Like you get bad news and then you get more bad news to compound it. Are there particular risks of using the good till cancel stops? You mean like within your broker? I mean, it's yeah. Well, I guess the only issue is, I mean, you have a stop, you have a stop. It's that simple, right? But well, that's it. You can risk a huge gap down, and it can blow right through your stop, I suppose. Yeah, I got love, and will now trade more. Perfect. There's your double whammy. So yeah, I mean, you can even if I put stop in here. Let's just say I buy this one right there, and I put the stop in right there. Okay, I'm going to get it at 522. I wander away. All of a sudden, I don't know this company at all. CEO accused of bribing the world. Okay, and it just blows all the way down there. I mean, I may get one share. As an example. I mean, that could happen intraday. No, your broker does though, but in Brokerage Plus, your broker has the trailing stops. Remember, we're not a broker. All right. Well, I secretly took your trade reel as my last trade of the week. Thank you. So that's a beauty from Real and the FN. Little bit of a chop around here, but now look at it. All right, guys. Are there any more questions? Yeah, I do Brokerage Plus. I don't think it's enacted yet through Brokerage Plus. Let me just ask a quick question. Let me just ask the question. Okay, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, Nick. I just got the answer. Well, I think it's just in the in your just a sec. Oh, okay. He says now for 6 or 8 months. Well, I think it's in your. Let me just bring it up. So I think it's just here where you your stop loss. Trailing stops. It's got to be here somewhere. You know what? Best thing you can do. Go to info. I'm just asking the question to Michael right now. So go to the home page. I thought it would be more obvious. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So just go to the home page. I'll give you the link for the home page. And ask David, Michael, he's there right now. There, sorry, just tough time finding the homepage link, okay? No, I don't see it either. I'm. Let me look again. I don't see how you can set it there. Stop loss. Oh, here we go. Trailing stop. Sorry, I just had to expand it a bit. Trailing stop. Okay. So Nick, so you don't have to bother Michael. So it is right there. I think originally it was not enacted, but it is now. Okay. Yeah. Can't believe that. Okay, Real, I owe you a cigar and a fine scotch for this one. Probably some resistance right now, some support right now. All right, guys. Oh, look at this one, ACHN, just at the very end. Interesting. This had this morning. I mean, it's now trying to go positive. News was gap up on phase 2 results. So here was the news in the pre-market. You can see, you know, a lot of excitement. Market opens. Big float though, 135 million in the float. I mean, that's one reason why, you know, it didn't do anything. I didn't think it would because of that float, but it is trying to pop a little bit here. So maybe, and you know, some volume is coming in. Not that I'm going to trade it right now, but because I'm done. Are there any more questions? I can tell you, well, you probably saw this. 50.16 was the VWAP, so it broke down below the VWAP. And then there's the 200-day moving average, 50.99. So those are pretty close, you know, not far away for a $50 stock. All right, everybody. I think that is it. Unless there are any other questions. I don't see any. Happy writing, yes. All right, well, thanks a lot for all the help this week. And today, of course, but I do appreciate it. So I'm going once, going twice. All right, everybody, that is a wrap. Yeah, that is a wrap for this week. So it is a holiday in Canada on Monday, but I'll be here, so don't have to worry if you're even thinking about it. So I'll be here. So have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Just going to do one thing here, do the lock room, and okay, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye. Oh.